Hello, my loves. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to your weekly guidance card reading for the week of April 17th to 23rd, I believe. This is a reading for the energy that we're in this week. What is the energy? It's been back and forth for me. I'm not sure how you're feeling, but it has been back and forth for me, where I've been in these very low lows and these very high highs. And like I had a very low low last night and I was like, I don't really love this energy. So I worked on releasing that. So if you're feeling that way, I hope that you are also finding ways to release that for yourself. What would I like to say to you? In terms of an overall message, last week there wasn't really one. There isn't so much this week either. The thing about my channeled messages is that they come when they come. I do sit in meditation daily. I have very specific guiding questions that I ask for myself. And sometimes those are things that I can share and sometimes they're not. Because sometimes it's more for me than it is for the collective. I hope you understand that. But one thing that has been sitting with me frequently this week, it has been something that's reoccurred a bit for me. It's popped up in my thought process. And that is the idea of gratitude and sitting fully in gratitude for the things that I have, for the life that I have, the life that I live, the connections that I make on a daily basis, on a weekly basis with all of you. All of these things are super important, and it's not lost on me how special this is. And I am just so grateful for all of that, among many other things that I've been encountering and experiencing recently. And so my challenge to you and my message to you for this week is to find things in your life that you can sit fully in gratitude for. And I felt like this was a calling and a sign that I needed to talk about it, because last night I went to Marshall's and look at this beautiful gratitude journal that I found on the shelf. It was the last one at that store. I'm sure there's at others. It was $7.99, and I was like, okay, I'll take that. That's a sign. And it's really beautiful on the inside. Like it's a guided journal, so I love that. Anyway, so that's what felt like the right thing to say to you today. Well, sit fully in your gratitude, and own that your life is good and your life is beautiful. And even though there are rough patches and there are hard times and there are difficult things, there is still so much to be grateful for. The fact that you get to wake up every day is a blessing. That is a beautiful thing to be grateful for. That you get to experience a human experience and make connections and grow and turn into the best version of yourself, the highest version of yourself, whatever it is. That's all very, very special. So I hope that you find great gratitude in that. So I hope that connects with you. I'm going to use a different deck today. Today I'm going to use the Star Seed Oracle deck by Rebecca Campbell. I really, really love this one as well. I do work with it, just not as often as Angels and Ancestors. I like to kind of give that one a break from time to time. And this one was one of the first decks that I received when I was starting my journey as a card reader. So we'll get into it. Before we start, I'm going to invite you to close down your eyes, take a few deep breaths in, and ground and center ourselves, so that we can call in the highest information that we need. We can release anything that no longer serves us for this day. Be willing to let it go. When you breathe in, I want you to think about breathing in all of the good and the abundance and the gratitude that you have to be grateful for in your life. Bring it all in, inhale it in deep within your lungs, and then on the release, I want you to visualize letting go of and releasing the things that do not serve you anymore. So we're going to go ahead and get started with that. Palms open if you are in a safe place to do so, if you feel comfortable doing so. Putting your feet on the ground is also a good thing to do if you are able and are comfortable. So close down your eyes, 3 big deep breaths in. First, we're going to inhale deeply. Hold at the top and releasing all of the things that do not serve us. Again, we're going to bring in all of the things that we desire. Hold at the top. Release. One more time, big deep breath in. Hold at the top, release. Guardians of the four corners, Mother in the earth, Father in the sky, angels, ancestors, sacred ones, I welcome you into this space now. I set the intention that whatever is gained and the lessons that are learned from these tools serve the highest good for all involved and support the growth for all beings in all places. As above, so below, so within, so as without, so within, so without. So be it, and so it is. Sometimes the words get mixed up in my head. It's okay. It's fine. None of ours are perfect. That's all right. Okay, 3, maybe 4 card spread. We'll see. See what it feels like as we come through. And I want you to think about gratitude and gratefulness as we move through this card reading, to really think about how this applies to your life as a collective. Ooh, we got several hot ones. When I rub my hands together, I'm creating friction and energy. And when I hover my hands over the cards, I know you can't really see it right now, that dictates for me which cards I'm going to pull, because that is where the energy is centered. There is no wrong way to read your cards. If you find a method that works for you, do it. If centering yourself and opening your eyes very quickly and choosing the first card that you land on is what you want to do, that's fine. It's more about your intentions with the cards than it is about how you pull them. And being very intentional in your cards, with your cards, is the important piece. One thing that I haven't said to you, and I'm going to say it to you now, when I work with the cards, I do it in a space that is, like when I pull cards for myself or for a client, I'm never under the influence of alcohol. Like I don't have a drink and be like, oh, I'm going to pull your cards. Like this is not a party trick. That's not how I do things. I feel like I believe that when you are influenced by other factors, it takes away from your ability to receive and give the clearest, best, highest good possible message. And so I will never do that. And also ethically, I will never pull cards for a person that is not present without their permission. That is also not something that I do. Ethics is very important for me in this, just as like when I share pictures of conversations of readings, or I share testimonials, everything that I share is with permission and consent of the owner, of the people who wrote it, because I believe fully in that. And people's stories are their stories to tell and their stories to live, and if they do not want to share it, then I would never share it. And so if you're thinking about getting into card reading or anything of the like, just be very mindful of that ethically I need you to be very moral and strong, and understand that someone else's story is not yours to tell. And also that when you do this, don't do it intoxicated or under the influence, because it clouds the judgment and the messages. So just a little side note, sidebar. Okay, so I'm going to get into it. First card, our current energy right now. We got some solar eclipse energy happening, I believe. I'm not an astrologist, so I'm doing my best here. Star bathing, light body, crystal grid, transmission activation. So our current energy right now is letting us know that our job is to become the highest, best version of ourselves. If you can connect to the crystalline grid, which is what it kind of tells us to do, and to open up and be in your brightest, highest version of yourself, it's going to transmit fear. It's going to release the fear for us, and it's going to allow for, once we do that release, it will allow for the activation piece of our soul to come into play. And so what it's asking you to do is to release the things that feel like they don't serve you right now. And then that will innately help activate the pieces of you that are ready to roll. And so I know that there is some energy right now that we're in this time of release, and we're in this really beautiful position to just go after the things that you want, go get the things that you desire. Now is the time to take that action, because then it will set everything else in motion. And so that is what our current energy is asking us to perceive and to do right now. I hope that feels good for you. I hope that feels okay. So that's our current energy: star bathing, light body, crystal grid, transmission, activation. Now is the time to activate those core desires and beliefs and things about yourself. And actually, I saw a really beautiful thing on TikTok the other day, and I believe it was by somebody from Mind Valley. And basically what they were saying was, it's very similar to the I am statements, but it was more about lofty questions to become the version of yourself that you were trying to be. And I think that applies here right now. And I've been talking a lot on my social media about visualization and manifestation, and how we can use that to support ourselves, and why engaging imagery is so important to our visualization process. And again, I think that applies here, knowing that seeing is believing, and saying is becoming. So using those lofty questions, using those I am statements to erase the fear and bring in the activation of the version of ourselves that we want to be is going to be very, very important. So that's our current energy. Star bathing. Beautiful card, by the way. Okay, second card, a message from our teams of light. This is spirit, universe, God, your guides, guardian angels, whatever it is that you choose to believe in. I choose guardian angels. I am an angel guide. That is what I do. This is that message from them, the thing that we need to know right now as we move through this current energy, and we work on activating those parts of ourselves. So we have the Hathors, deep love, mother's milk, birth is a portal. So what our teams of light are letting us know right now is that this is a time of rebirth, right? It's a time to, we've been activating who we're trying to become, and now we're in this stage of rebirth to activate that expansion, to continue to grow. Doing so with deep love and compassion for yourself, knowing that the versions of you that came before support who you are going to be. And think of it like you mothered yourself, you mothered your inner child to this point of beautiful growth and expansion. And now it's time to fully step out into that, and to own that, and to love it, and to absorb and take in all of the beautiful things that come from that. And now, you've had this rebirth of growth into this beautiful version of yourself that you never saw coming, but now it is here, and now it's time to grow and expand with it and use it to your advantage. What's super important right now in this energy is owning who you're becoming, and your desires and your needs, and how you show up in the world. And so this is an extension of that, activating who you are becoming, and then really owning that and birthing it out into the world for everyone else to see, right? So now is not the time to be behind the scenes. It's time to step forward. It is time to own that. So that is the message from your teams of light. Okay, third card. I am going to do 4 cards. Third card is a message from your higher self, the version of you that walks many different paths, helps you navigate every action that you take in this life, helps you navigate the bumps in the road. This is the version that watches over you, and every action that you take dictates the next direction, and this is the version that helps guide you through that. We have portal, doors are opening, you decide, rewards, wild card. Fuck, I love this card so much. This card has come up for me several different times in different readings. And really what this is now is your opportunity. And this is beautiful that it's the higher self card because it sees all of it, right? And again, I read something really wonderful about quantum leaping, quantum timelines recently, and I think this fits very nicely with that. Basically, that every version of ourselves, of our life that we desire and dream of and search for already exist, right? That's the whole idea. The analogy that was used was every song that has ever been written exists at the same time, but you can only listen to one song at one time because everything else, if you listen to them all at once, it's just noise, right? And it's not a clear depiction of anything. And so by choosing one, you're listening to one song. This portal is that for us, knowing that all of our different timelines exist simultaneously. Every outcome is already there. It's about honing in on your timeline that you most desire and making it be the timeline that becomes the reality, the timeline that you're living, the life version that you are living right now. And so things are going to start to open up for you over the next little while in this phase of energy. And you're going to be faced with a decision. You're going to have to decide, is this timeline the one that is the one that I want, is the one that I need, is the one that's going to support me and serve me and be what I have envisioned it to be? Or is this a lower vibrational timeline that I no longer need? And if that's the case, that's okay. Don't go through that door. You're going to know intuitively and instinctively in your gut what is the best option for you, what is the best timeline for you, what makes sense for you, and that will pay off. That being said, because our timelines are infinite, because the outcomes are infinite, because it is already simultaneously existing, if that is not the timeline that ends up suiting you, you are in charge and you can create another timeline shift. Okay? So that's portal. Doors are opening. You decide. Rewards, wild card. Portal. Love that card. Gosh, I love that card. Okay, fourth and final card. What's to come, next steps, next directions, things to watch, look for as we move through this phase of energy. I'm sorry, defenselessness, writing past wrongs, uprooting. Okay, really, really love this. This is a bit of a karmic thing. What it's reminding us of is that though it feels like things are set in stone, there's always room to release and let go. Sometimes that looks like apologizing. And that's what this is sort of saying with writing past wrongs. That can look like the hard conversations that you thought would serve, that you are afraid to have, but are going to serve you better in the long run. And really what this is doing is reminding you that you are able to heal any of those karmic wounds that might be open or might be holding you back a little bit, by being able to have those constructive conversations and open the lines of communication. What you're doing is allowing for the healing process to come in this plays directly into our timeline shifts as well. Which is really important to remember. Sometimes those wounds that are open block us without us even realizing that they're an open wound. And so moving forward, as we shift into this really abundant, awakened, expansive energy, release the things that feel hard from a place of discomfort and unease in situations and scenarios that you might play back in your head and go, I don't know if I did the right thing there. I don't know if I was emotionally intelligent in that moment. All of those things. Those are all important things to go back and look at if you think that might be what is holding you back. And secondly, it leads to an uprooting. And so that's not a negative thing whatsoever. It's just a recognition that by healing those parts of ourselves, we uproot that old piece and it allows for new growth and for us to move forward in a very different way, in a very open way, in a very expansed way. And that's a really wonderful thing. This card can feel heavy for many people. It has felt very heavy for me in the past. One thing that I would like to show you is in this card, you have our beings here, and then see how it's rooted. I want you to think about this image right here as like your generational ties, your generational, curses is not the right word, but your generational bonds that have connected you to people you don't in your lineage that you haven't even met. We carry so much of it with us, and so the karmic wound might not just be something that you have and held. It could be something that has been in your lineage for many years, and you might not even know what it is or that it needs to be healed. So that's a heavy thing to sit with. Just know that every action that you take heals that, moves you away from that, supports you in becoming the highest, most awakened, most ascended version of yourself. We're all just made of stardust. We are all light beings. We are all worthy of this expansion. And so recognizing that things that happen in your lineage do not define who you are now, but you still have to heal and release them, is a heavy thing to bear, but it is a beautiful thing to encounter, because when you encounter it, you heal those generations, you create new generational lines that are going to support the generations that come after, because that's the other thing. We always talk about the behind, the things that happen, but we also don't think about the forward, the things to come, the people to come, the generations to come, right? You right now in this moment get to heal the past and create for the future. And that is fucking amazing. So I want you to know that, and I want you to be grateful for that you are in a position to do that. I feel really strongly about this message, these cards. I hope that you feel that as well. I think the portal card is a big one for us right now. So use that to your advantage. Sit in that quantum place. Visualize the best possible outcome. Visualize the best possible timeline. And make it your reality. You are in control. You are always in charge. You are the architect of your life, and you can make these amazing things happen. So, Hiveaura Collective, I hope that was the reading that you need to hear this week, in this energy, in this moment, and I hope that you connected with these cards. Couple of housekeeping things. You can find me on Instagram at Connecting with Cody. You can find me on TikTok at Connecting with Cody. I do not have a Facebook page because I'm behind the times. And what else do I want to say to you? I have a website, emilycody.ca. Please feel free to visit that as well if you're interested in what I do. I identify as a clairaudient, clairvoyant mystic with psychic abilities and gifts. And I do angel guide sessions, so that's just a little bit about me. And lastly, I have a few mystic markets coming up in the spring, further in the spring, that I'm looking forward to, and I hope that I can see you at. You can find me at the Spirit of the Bay Fair on May 13th, and you can find me at the Mystic Moon Fair at the Halifax Forum on June 3rd and 4th, I believe. So I will be there for those things. I love you. Thank you for being here. I hope that this connected with you.